Hello everyone, welcome to my podcast, Becoming a Giant. I want to start by saying good morning, good afternoon and good evening to you wherever you are. The first question I have for you today is, do you know Helen Keller? Helen Keller was an American author, disability rights advocate, political activist, and a lecturer. Helen Keller lost both her sight and hearing at the age of less than 2, to be precise, 19 months. She was communicating primarily using home signs until she turned 7 and met with her first teacher and her long-life companion. Her teacher taught her language and writing and reading. So when Helen Keller was approached after graduation, she was asked a question about what she considered as worse than blindness. In her reply, she said, "What is worse than blindness is having sight without a vision." In the last episode, we discussed about the important place of your mind. Your mind is designed to receive messages and mental pictures sent to you by your Creator. So what you do with these mental pictures and messages goes a long way to determine what becomes of you. Not making use of the messages or the wonderful ideas that have been sent your way does not mean they are not there. They only show how insensitive we can be. And it also accounts for why we are where we are today. That is stagnation. So Helen Keller did not allow her disability to limit her. When I read about Helen Keller, I considered my own problem, which is blindness, as nothing. Here is somebody who was blind and deaf, still making waves in the world. She did not allow her situation or condition to limit her. That is a challenge to every one of us. So limitations in life has no regard for whether you have sight or you are blind. What is important is that whenever limitations come, we should not allow them. That is key and very important. I lost my own sight, like I said, in 2014. The day it happened, I don't know how to describe my situation that day. All I can tell you is that I just woke up the normal way that people wake up, and I went to the next building from mine. On getting there, I saw some kids, two of them, playing with a camera. I said, "Please, can I have that camera?" And they gave it to me. So when I collected the camera, I tried to view through using my left eye. I discovered that I couldn't see through. Then I moved the camera to my right eye. Then I saw. Surprised, I moved it back to my left eye. I discovered that I couldn't see again. There and then, I became worried. I almost jumped into a conclusion that I have lost my left eye. But I cautioned myself and chose to run home. I went home, met with my wife, and I, told her about the development. She was very shocked. We both sat down and pondered over it for, almost 10 minutes. We were all speechless. So I now decided to go into the bathroom to look at the mirror and see what happens. So I closed my left eye again and tried to see through. I was able to see. Then I covered my right eye with my hand, and I discovered that I could not see there, and then I concluded that yes, I have lost my left eye. I sat down thinking within me, what will become of me? How will I live life without sight? Okay, I told my wife that I believe God for a miracle. Nevertheless, I want to go to the hospital and check it up with them. So on Monday, because it happened like on Friday, on Monday I went to the hospital very early in the morning. I went to the ophthalmology department. So I was a kind of nervous and worried within me. So though I pretended not to show it in my appearance, in my looks. So when I was finally called in, I explained my situation to the ophthalmologist. He checked me out and gave me his verdict. What did he say? He said, "You have lost your left eye." That was dumbfounding. As if that was not enough, he went ahead and told me that even the right eye is almost gone. That was where I became very, very devastated. He now asked me a question. He said, "Do I have children?" Well, as at that time, I had only my son, and he was just about 2 years old. So the question, sent a kind of fear into me, because I was thinking he was of the opinion or feeling that I will soon lose the right eye. I told him I have a son, but a child but of 2 years old. He said, "Okay, no problems." So he didn't tell me why he asked, but I could sense it myself. So from there I left, went for the prescription that he gave me. He prescribed Timol, Timol, 0.5 to me. I went and bought it and made my way home. So when I got home, I sat my wife down and tried to instill confidence in her. Where am I getting it from? From my inner man. Because I believe in miracle. I believe in God. I just told her, I said, "Don't worry, honey, everything will be okay. I believe God. I know God can restore my sight. And if He chooses not to, I believe He will still make a way for me. He will make a way for me. He has given me great vision in life. I believe He can't give me a vision and not show me the way out, of any problem that will hinder me from achieving my purpose in life." You may want to know that both those who are impossibility thinkers and those who are possibility thinkers receive wonderful ideas. But what makes the difference is that the possibility thinkers manage the ideas they receive well, while the impossibility thinkers mismanage their own ideas. Life continued with me. And when I thought of the kind of job that I had been doing before I lost my left eye in 2003, that contributed, to the great concern that I had, because I had been into publishing. I had published two editions, two different magazines at that time. And magazine required the use of sight. So I now began to wonder, how will I continue with this business that I love so much without sight? So I thought of it, but all I had was an assurance from God that you can do all things with me on your side. So the story of Helen Keller serves as an impetus to me, as an encouragement to me, that if somebody who does not have sight and ear can achieve purpose to become an author, disability right advocate, political activist, and a lecturer, I think I have no excuse. So this same scenario applies to every one of you out there. What I mean is that limitations have no respect for whether you are disabled or not. They are just there, and they come from time to time. So let me use the case of David, at least, to draw out an important lesson on how we should not allow limitations to limit us. When Prophet Samuel was asked to go and appoint a king from the family of Jesse, the father of 7 children, never considered David to be one of them. He did not see David as having a king's potential. So he didn't see him as having a king's potential. That was why when Samuel came, Jesse only paraded 6 of his children and left David out. Think of this again. 3 of Jesse's children were enlisted in the army of Israel. David was not seen as someone who had a warrior's potential. That was why even when Jesse sent David to the war front to go and supply his siblings with food, he was accused and scolded by his brother Eliab, the firstborn, because he was not even expecting him to be there. He was asking him, who did you leave the sheep, in the field with to come here? But you know what happened? that visitation brought out the champion in David. Even at the battlefront, when David attempted to go after Goliath, Saul never saw David as a champion material. So that was why he tried to help him with his own armor. And when David tried it and it did not fit him, he left it. What that means is that David realized that God was not looking for a substitute Saul. He was looking for David. When limitations come your way, especially from people, even your relations, your family members, that is not the time for you to try to become another person. Just stay put, remain yourself. God has a purpose for you. What is vision in the first place? To me, in my own understanding, vision is the understanding, the discovery, and the pursuit of a divine assignment. That is vision. Discovery is what everybody has seen and did nothing about. So that is it. When you now see it and act on it, run with it, that becomes a vision. Vision is a divine assignment given to you by God, which has to be pursued. One thing is to understand vision, and another thing, which is more important, is to pursue vision. That is very important. You know the story of David, how he was able to defeat Goliath. Somebody who was looked down by his family, he went beyond the family limitations. Not only that, he also went beyond the leadership limitation. That is, when Saul looked at him, he did not see him as a champion material, but David went beyond that. Again, when Goliath saw him, when Goliath sighted David, Goliath did not see him as a potential opponent, but David went beyond that. That is, he went beyond skills limitation. So, the situation we find in ourselves is not a hindrance to our moving forward, but understand that until we move, we cannot gain momentum. David was able to overcome relational limitations. He was able to overcome leadership limitations. He was able to overcome skills limitation. Limitations do not limit us unless we allow them. I have been, by the grace of God, doing what I'm doing. The magazine that I thought I wouldn't be able to do when I first lost my left eye is what I'm doing today, and better than the way I was doing it when I even had my sight. Now I have been publishing this magazine since 2014 when I lost my sight completely, and it has been getting better and better by the day. So don't allow limitations to limit you. Focus on what you can do with God on your side and not what you can do without God. When you overcome your own limitations, you'll be able to help others. That is the beauty of it. Look at it. When I was when I was into counseling business, one day I asked my clients, about 7 of them, this question. I said, which one would be a greater miracle to you guys between me recovering my sight right now before you and me remaining the way I am and still being your counselor? Without hesitation, they all agreed and said to me, you are a greater miracle now than you will be when you have your sight, regained. So don't allow limitations to limit you. They are there before both those who are disabled as well as those who are not. What makes the difference is your mind. Your mind, your mind. Think of this saying that what an old man can see sitting down, the young man cannot see standing up, even climbing on top of a roof. What does that mean? So is the old man expected to see with his naked eyes? No. that is not true. We see with our eyes, but we understand with our mind. Your mind is your powerhouse. No matter what you lose, as long as your mind is intact, you have not lost anything. It is your mind that the devil likes to attack. Because he knows if your mind is defeated, no matter what you have, you will still be vulnerable and unfulfilled in life. So the place of vision is an important place in life. Vision is something that has to be pursued. And what makes it easier to pursue is the understanding that we have about our vision. The clearer your vision, the faster you get to your destination. Let me chip in this. It says in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1, it says, I will stand upon my tower, upon my watch, rather. I'm just quoting for you from head. So, I will stand upon my watch and set myself on the tower to see what he will say unto me and what I will answer when I'm rebuked. And the Lord said, write the vision on tablet and make it plain, that whosoever reads it can run with it. So, the clearer your vision, the faster you get to your destination. Think of this. Think of a car, at night. A car with a good headlight should be able to go faster than the one with the bad headlight. The brighter your headlight, the faster you go. The same thing applies to life situations. The clearer your vision, the greater your accomplishments. You must have understanding of what you are called to do, and that should not stop you from learning how to do it. You can see in the case of David, he did not just overcome the relational limitations from his family, from his friends. He also overcame the leadership limitations. When Saul tried to put on him his armor that was too heavy, he was able to discover that, and put it off. Even when Saul did not see David as a champion material, David saw himself as a hero. So, skills limitation is very important. This can be caused by ourselves, because you don't have anybody to blame for not acquiring skills. It is your responsibility. Helen Keller should have said, okay, now that I cannot see, I don't have sight, I don't have ears, so I don't need to do anything. Let me just sit down and depend on disability. That wasn't, her mindset. She was able to develop herself. She was able to overcome all limitations that life tried to put on her way. And with that, she became a hero. Her name is everywhere now, all over the world. So, you have what it takes to fulfill purpose. You have what it takes to fulfill destiny. And the first thing you need is to believe in God and to believe in yourself. David believed in himself. When no one else believed in him, he believed in himself, and he was able to prove all his doubting Thomases wrong. That is what we are called to do. I don't have my sight right now, but I am not limited, because I never allowed my condition, my situation to limit me. I have a reason to thank God every day I wake up from sleep, because when I think of things that are working for me, I discover that they are more than those things that are not working. So, not fulfilling destiny is not to be blamed on anyone. We have a responsibility. We have a part to play. And until we play our own part, like I used to say, God is not committed. Why? Because without God, truly, we cannot. But without us, God himself will not do anything. So it is not enough to think of God as Jehovah Jireh, God the provider, and now sit down and fold your arms and believe that, I have God. So for that reason, all things will fall on my laps. It doesn't work that way. God expects you. And as a matter of fact, you know this. If you don't know it now. I know God, and that is why I'm telling you what I know about him. Because I'm talking from experience. What I have been doing and what I do with my condition, not being able to see at all, are things that I will never imagine. I can never imagine that I will be able to do ordinarily. So there is what we call the grace of God. The grace of God. Somebody defined the grace of God as God in the race of our lives. He said that G, grace is spelled Grace. So he said that G is God, and the other part of it is race. God in the race of our lives. Without him we can do but nothing. But having him does not mean, hallelujah, fold your arms, all is well, I don't need to work, I want to depend on God. After all, God sees that I cannot see, I don't have sight. God sees that I'm deaf. These are excuses, flimsy excuses. God will not tempt you with the kind of temptation that is more than you, that you cannot bear. You may come to a conclusion, you may come to a judgment that, this is more than me. If it's more than you, you will have been dead. So for you to be alive is to tell you that you have all it takes to fulfill purpose. You have all it takes to achieve destiny. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep hoping. Keep hoping until you give up. Until you give up, you will continue to go up. So giving up is a stop, is putting a stop to going up. There is a place for you up there. Up there. You don't belong to the valley. There is a place for you. There is a place for you. And your mindset will determine that placement. Your mindset will determine your placement. So you don't need to be blind to see. Use your eyes to see and use your mind to understand. Your understanding level will determine how outstanding your destiny, your life will be on the earth. I am in it. I have experienced it. And the experience that I have, being blind, has given me a kind of idea that on the day that man will breathe his last, he will have a reason to thank God. Most of the things we fear are not things to be afraid of. God is always there on the other end, waiting for you. His arms are widespread to receive you. Do not be afraid. Fear is the enemy of faith. We are called to walk the walk of faith, and when it is the work of faith, sight is inconsequential. So, my advice, my admonition is for you to hold on to your God and don't give up. Keep seeing a brighter tomorrow, because what you see determines what you'll be able to access, and what you cannot imagine, you cannot manage. Just as a radio is designed to pick the sounds that are, in the waves around you, and a television is designed to pick the moving pictures, from the waves around us. That is how your mind is designed to pick those wonderful messages, those wonderful ideas, those positive mental pictures, so that you can make good use of them. These are raw materials for you to process and turn into fortune. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Becoming a Giant. Do not forget to subscribe and share. Also, stay tuned for more. Till I come your way next week, Thursday. Stay blessed.